next big thing was the 1998 kind of disclosure that how that actually happened, because you did these presentations. I think you did about 5 or 6 of them, didn't you? At one at International UFO Congress and MUFON, which was LA. I think was that in LA? Was it the MUFON one?
The MUFON, yes, was in Burbank, basically LA.
So how did that all come about then? How do you get in touch with us? Because you've already mentioned a few minutes ago about you weren't really into thinking about aliens. You'd obviously talked about UFOs a little bit, but that wasn't kind of one of the main things that you were talking about at that time. So how did you kind of enter this weird ufological culture, as it might be called?
Well, it was weird to me. Brad Steiger had published about 150 books at that time, and the book was coming out in the summer of '98, and he had me do a few radio programs just to kind of test the waters about talking about the truth and not really. I mean, obviously we mentioned the book because we wanted people to buy it so they could have the information.
Yes.
We only got like 25 cents per copy each on an $18 book. So we didn't get rich. And it wasn't Vanity Press, it wasn't self-published, it was through a regular publisher. Brad Steiger got a percentage off the top because he was risking his time as co-author because, he made a living at it and I didn't.
Yeah.
So part of the deal would he would get X number of $1,000 off the top until he was paid that, and then would start splitting it. So Bob Silverstein and Brad was on radio and TV all the time back then. He was a regular on Art Bell, Jeff Rance, Bill Boshear's show, I think, up in Chicago. So everybody knew Brad Steiger.
Yeah.
Very brilliant, articulate, talk about anything paranormal, UFOs, really understood the whole media circus. So we tested the waters and did a couple of radio shows, and nobody knocked down my doors or anything. And he says, well, the publisher sent an advanced copy of your book to Jim Courant, who was a pilot and a UFO investigator. He was on the board of the International UFO Congress, and sent Bob and Terry Brown, who owned the International UFO Congress, a copy. And then Ken Settington from England, a copy. And then all of a sudden, they said they want you at the International UFO Congress in 2 weeks or a week. I mean, it was extremely short notice.
Yeah.
For us, to pack up and leave. We had cats and bills and everything else. So there was a scramble. Only had a few days. I don't remember exactly how long, but it was less than a week. I had to put together a minimum of an hour presentation. And I think the presentation went on for about an hour and 20 minutes or something. And they at the end, they cut off the questions and answers because there was a time limit. There were lots and lots of people lined up for questions that I would love to have answered, but it was very frantic. And then when I was at the IUFOC in 98 and I returned in 99 and gave a second presentation, but in 98 our hotel room was broken into at the casino.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
And Ken Settington and I believe Jim Courant, we were all down at this huge dinner for all the speakers and the staff. And we were talking about something. I said, well, I've got the documents up in my room. And it was after dinner, we were starting to have drinks. And I said, well, let's just run up there. The elevator's right there. Let's just run up there and I'll show them to you. So we got to my hotel room and there was a hotel towel stuck in the door. The door is still cracked, which I thought maybe the cleaning people had done it accidentally. We go in my room, and I've got these binders full of documents and pictures, and my wife's got some very expensive jewelry and clothes, and I had my fuzz buster or radar detector, which is like $400. In other words, there were a lot of stuff there for a thief to steal, and all the documents are spread out all over the king-size bed, almost like somebody had pulled them all out or maybe took pictures of them or something. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing that happened that made us paranoid and nervous, was the hotel room being broken into. And we complained to the casino security, and they go, well, we got it all on video. And they checked their cameras, and they were the hallway camera for that section of the hallway of the hotel part wasn't working, mysteriously. So that kind of raised the hackles on our necks, like, what the hell's going on here? And then after I gave the presentation at Laughlin, we got back home, I started doing radio interviews. Jeff Rance was the biggest one. I'd done some smaller radio stations and even, I think, a couple of local news programs. And I think it was 3 local San Antonio TV stations did interviews, and nobody aired anything except one station, I forget which station it was, said that there's basically a ridicule piece that says there's one local man, retired military, he's written a book about aliens and UFOs, and he thinks he knows what's going on. And that's pretty much it. So they cut out the actual interview. It was not flattering.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to go on, before I returned to go to California and Nevada for a few more presentations, I was also supposed to be on Art Bell. And then Brad had talked to Art Bell and sent Art Bell a copy of Alien Rapture. And I think my presentation too. Mm-hmm. And first Art Bell says, according to Brad, he says, oh yeah, we've definitely got to have him on. We're going to schedule him. And they call me, and I said, yeah, I'm available every night except this, or, whenever. I just tell them what my schedule was. And they never called back. And then Brad didn't understand. So he waited a while, and next time he had a chance to talk privately to Art Bell, he said, well, you still need to have Ed Fouche on there because I talk about the book, but he's the expert. He wrote the book. He says, I helped him make changes in it and edit it. He said, but it's Ed's story. And he talked with Ed Fouche about this technology and black programs and flying triangle. And Art said, yep, you're right. We definitely have to have him on. They called again, and I told them what my schedule was. This was like a month, 2 later, I don't remember. And they never called back again. So after that, I just told Brad, I said, don't even mention me to Art Bell. I said, I don't know what's going on. And he said, well, it seems like he promotes every foolish story in the world, but when he gets a legitimate story, he doesn't want to promote it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a little light bulb in my head goes off, and I'm going to, okay, that's the deal.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the key factors as well. And, shows like Coast to Coast are all very well and often quite interesting to listen to. But, I think it's just a question of the old, being polite, sorting out the wheat from the chaff. And it's often, those sorts of shows are often regarded as, entertainment shows more than anything else. So you're just served up there for someone's entertainment, and
exactly. I mean, I used to listen to Coast a lot way back years ago, and none of the facts ever checked out. None of the predictions ever came true.
Yeah.
And there were no documents revealed. I mean, it was just like you say, it was just amusing entertainment, almost like a science fiction on the radio.
Right.
Or fantasy.
Now, I think the other thing we should mention in relation to, we've talked about the going on Coast to Coast and the presentation and so on, and I understand that this is when the BBC Well, they said the BBC came to interview you, and I think that was at UFOC conference, wasn't it? The International UFO Congress conference. They came to interview you in the hotel there. Was it there or near there or?
Both of the UFOC conferences in the summer of 98, summer of 99 were at the casino town of Laughlin, which is on the Colorado River south of Las Vegas. Beautiful little town. Well, it's not really little. We have a lot of casinos. The prices are a lot cheaper there, motel and drinks and stuff like that, or hotel, compared to Las Vegas. That's why a lot of people like it, because the river's huge there. So I can't remember which year, but between the two presentations, in the summer of 98, summer of 99, I was interviewed by German TV. There was a team, I think, of 4. There was a guy from Denmark there that interviewed me. There was, I was told the BBC, they had a crew of 6. That was the biggest crew by far. It was John Purdy, was in charge of that portion of their network or whatever it was called, our production company. And then Tim Shawcross was the interviewer. And I didn't find out until later, after they were gone, that they were Channel 4. But the way they talked, it led me to believe that Channel 4 was BBC.
Yeah.
Which you've explained to me is not really.
No. So, and then the other thing that they did, which was a bit weird, was they'd, put cameras on your documents, and your documents had the social security number on, and then that went out on air, didn't they? Actually put that out on air, which caused you quite a big problem, didn't it?
Well, in America, your social security number is everything. I mean, you could probably take over somebody's identity. So what happened was I had my original social security number, and then when some people reposted, or actually it was one person, Jeremy Rise from Mansfield, Massachusetts, posted the whole IUFOC presentation over an hour long. He changed the social security number at my request so that people wouldn't have it. But at the same time, I was in the process of getting a new social security number, which takes almost an act of Congress. In fact, I had to get a congressman to help me on it. So I had an original social security number and I had my current one, which nobody knows. So people will say, well, okay, this guy's got 3 social security numbers. Well, I actually only had 2. The third one in question is the one changed by Jeremy Rise on the video.
Right.
So then,
that caused you a bit of a problem at the time. I understood that they actually broadcast this as well on the BBC documentary, that one of these documents was shown there and it had your social
yes, it was. Yes, it was. My original social security number, if you actually buy the DVD from the IUFOC, it has my original social security number. The one that Jeremy Rice put up that everybody's copied
does not.
Has it changed?
Yeah. Okay. Now, going back to that team that said they were from the BBC, but it eventually ended up on Channel 4 documentary, however that was, we don't really know. But they interviewed you for a long time, didn't they? And then they used about 3 or 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, I was really kind of disappointed because we spent most of the day in the interview process, and I'm sure there were a lot of stuff they couldn't use in 5 or 6 hours of interviewing, but to end up with just, 3 or 4 minutes or whatever it was. And then, they say, well, there's one person that seems to have the answer, and they name me by name and show them the documents and a few brief comments, me saying, I'm telling you the truth as I know it, and I believe this to be true. And at the end they go like, but you can't prove it. Almost like discounting what I said. And then they, somewhere during this, they showed several of my documents. And the one document in question, I had their promise when we were doing the interview. I said, because the guy kept wanting to take photos of everything in the room, which made me nervous. I said, look, guys, I don't want any documents photographed unless I approve it. Well, this guy, every time of course, they positioned me where my back's facing away from the bed, so I couldn't see what was going on behind me. But at some point, one of the guys had taken a picture of my documents, and one of them had my social security number, which really I thought was very distrustful and sneaky.
You know, we've already covered quite a lot of ground here, and I think hopefully people will find this information that you've given us, you know, very useful in the way of, you know, kind of showing how some of the military works and some of the procedures that you have to go through and what you're working, the sort of environment you're working under. You know, you've described that, I think, fairly comprehensively. But for example, if you go and watch that Channel 4 documentary, which is 3 hours long, or, you know, it filled 3 hours of TV airtime, I think it's probably 3 times 46 minutes running time. But if you watch it, I mean, they spend like, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour with some guy who says he's filmed a UFO in his back garden, you know, and you can clearly see it's just bogus. You know, I think there's one that he filmed that was interesting. And you know, from speaking to you, I'm thinking, well, why did they fill half an hour with that nonsense rather than giving you another 20 minutes, half an hour of what you know, with all the documents to prove it? I mean, that just proves that these documentaries are, you know, they're just, again, served up as entertainment. They're not really out to try and discover the truth.